Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Abhishek Bhati. I'm the campus dean and also responsible for learning, teaching, and student engagement at James Cook University's Singapore campus. I'm going to talk about the JCU experience. And the moment you say JCU, what comes to mind? What is it that we are known for? And that is our quality. James Cook University Singapore is a quality-focused institution. We care for our students, education, their journey, and for that, we want to provide the best student experience possible. Now, it is easy to claim that we are quality-focused. What do you mean by quality-focused? We are a university in our own right. Of course, we come from Australia, where we are a public university, but here in Singapore, we are the only institution which has been awarded EduTrust Star twice. EduTrust Star is the highest award that can be given to a non-public institution in Singapore, awarded by Singapore government. So that speaks very highly of James Cook University Singapore's quality, our processes, the way we benchmark our courses, and our approaches to enhance student experience. We are also the only institution to be awarded SQC Star. SQC, as you all may know, is Singapore Quality Class. Again, industry-wide quality certification. In fact, SQC Star certification is not limited to education. We have people from manufacturing, branding, and other industries as well, which are vie for an SQC Star award. And I'm pleased to share that earlier this year, even with COVID-19 pandemic ongoing, we went through the SQC Star audit, and our SQC Star certification was renewed a couple of months ago. So again, we make sure that even in trying times, difficult times, we make sure that our quality journey continues, and we don't want to compromise on that. And of course, we are the only institution other than the public AUs, autonomous universities, that have a university status in Singapore. I can go on. It's a very long list of various badges that attest to James Cook University's quality journey. But I think these 3 points are crucial because I want to share a few other salient features of James Cook University with you as well. I want to talk about diversity on campus. As you can see from the slide which you would have here, our student population comes from 40 different countries, or probably more than 40 countries now. We are living in a globalized environment. The world is shrinking. Of course, it's shrinking because of global warming, but it's also shrinking in terms of communication and people traveling in other countries. So if communication and travel is so easy now, it is important for us, or everyone, or our students, to be globally aware, to be global citizen. And the best way to provide global citizenship is by having those interactions on campus. So having a diverse student population where students coming from more than 40 countries in Asia, Europe, Americas, Australia, Africa as well, we try to provide that rich cultural exchange on campus. And this diversity is not limited to students. We also have staff, especially academic staff, that come from practically every continent. So this diversity helps us in being inclusive, in getting being aware of what is out there, and appreciating different cultures and thinking that people have from different cultures. Another key aspect of a JCU experience, or probably the outcome, is employability. We are very proud to say that more than 80% of our students are able to get employment within 6 months of their graduation. But in addition to employment, I would also like to talk about salary scales. And the salary scales, or the average salary that our graduates receive, has been increasing over the years. We conduct regular survey, and it's not just that we do it, we outsource it. We get a professional organization to conduct that that survey for us of our graduates, how they are faring in terms of their employment, how much salary they are receiving, and data has shown an upward trend in our graduate salaries, the top end, the medium end as well. And the good thing is that the bottom end is reducing. It means that higher proportion of our students are getting higher salaries because many students, in addition to learning more about discipline and subjects and enhancing their knowledge, they also study to be employable. And we appreciate that and we care for their employability, we measure it and we enhance it. These enhancements in employability, they are not automatic. My team, in the academic team, all the faculty, we work throughout the year to ensure that our curriculum, our courses are up to date and relevant. We work with industry partners, we work with professional bodies, and we work with fellow colleagues in other universities to make sure that our curriculum, our subjects, or activities for students are cutting edge and giving them the relevant experiences. And that results in the high level of employability, as what I was sharing earlier. Now, next few slides, I'm going to focus on continuous improvement. I have talked about what we are, what we have achieved in terms of our quality, in terms of our employability, in terms of diversity on campus. But we should not rest on our laurels, and we should try and see how we move forward. What are enhancements, additional enhancements that we are doing in improving student experience and student outcomes? So continuous improvement becomes crucial. It is part of our DNA. It is part of our culture, one of our values where we need to improve, we need to find ways to better our activities, our processes, policies, and student experience as well. And we focus a lot on student experience, as you might have realized in my talk so far. So, one important thing about continuous improvement is research. Now, you might ask, hey, why research? And being an academic, and I'm sure many of you would agree with me, research is a very important life skill. It is not limited only to academia or doing academic research, but we do research on a daily life, on a day-to-day basis, making choices. So if you're able to make choices which are informed, thought through choices, well, you are researching. And as an academic institution, we make sure that our education is research-based. In other words, whatever we share with students, whatever facts or knowledge we want to share, information that we want to share with students, that information or that pieces of knowledge is researched. It is not something that what we feel and think, but it's something which is accepted widely by many other professionals. And JCU takes pride in having research-informed learning and teaching. All of our full-time academics are research active. And by being research active, they are able to provide latest, current, cutting-edge developments in their field in the classroom. Share with the students so that students, when they go out, they are able to benefit from the most current developments in that field and co-create knowledge. On our campus, we have tried to embrace our research strategy in many ways. JCU Singapore has a research institute called TFI, Tropical Futures Institute, which focuses on research areas which are relevant to the tropics, whether it is food sustainability. You know, Singapore has 2030 food sustainability goal, 30 by 30 goal, which you must be familiar with. We focus on mental health. You know, mental health is a big area, and health, mental health, aged health, these are certain areas that we focus on. We have a research institute. Under the research institute, we have a research center, CITPA, Center for International Trade and Business in Asia. Singapore is a business center. There's a lot of business activity happening within Asia, you know, whether it's China, India, Southeast Asia. There's a lot of vibrancy in business arena. So we have a Center for International Trade and Business. And this center works between Singapore and in Australia, and there are academics, researchers who are part of this institute who create new knowledge every time. Earlier, I talked about Singapore's 30-30 goal of food sustainability. So we have Center for Innovation in Aquaculture, growing fish for food. As we all know, that fish is a very good source of protein. But the fish in the ocean is reducing, and we need to look at sustainable ways of farming fish. And there you go. The Center for Innovation in Aquaculture is one such center which works with aquaculture firms and research centers across the world. And we are known for our aquaculture research around the globe. We also have very active research in mental health, as I said earlier, and that is fed directly into our psychology program. Our psychology programs, which are offered all the way from diploma to degree to master's and, of course, PhD. There are several PhD students, doctorate students, and, of course, clinical students who are looking at mental health and other areas of health as part of the psychology research that we do here. In a nutshell, we are committed to research, we want to grow research, and there's no better way than having research students. So we offer PhD. We're one of the few institutions that offer both full-time and part-time PhDs in Singapore. So this is how we have contributed to research through improvement through research again. In this slide, or I should say next, I would focus more on learning technologies. Now, learning technologies are crucial at the moment. Why? Because we are in a pandemic. 2020 has been a difficult year for everyone. No one is spared, and of course, JCU was not special in this situation. But we need to provide continuity. Continuity to our student learning, continuity to ensure that they can graduate on time and they have the right skills. So, in the last 8 or 9 months in 2020, well, we started on the COVID journey, or responding to COVID pandemic in February itself by enhancing our online technologies, by enhancing our e-learning, by making sure that the staff are provided with equipment, whether they are recording equipment such as mics, having new technology tools like Padlets and iPads. A range of equipment was provided to academic staff, teachers, so that they can provide continuity to student learning. In fact, students were trained, and we invested heavily in improving our bandwidth online so that students can continue their education, can download materials from our online portal. And our online portal, which is called Blackboard Ultra, is again one of the latest editions of Blackboard. Which is our learning management system, a cutting-edge learning management system. And because JCU is already on Blackboard Ultra, it helped us in transitioning from face-to-face to 100% online education in the early part of the year. And now we transition back into some face-to-face learning. So now our students are getting real blended experience. They can come to campus and benefit from the campus, face-to-face campus experience, and they can continue their education online as well, through the LMS, learning management system, and other tools that we have provided. Another important aspect of improving our learning and teaching comes from analytics. We all talk about data science all the time, but JCU has applied data science. What we teach data science, but we apply data science in improving our student outcomes and student experiences. And that comes in the form of analytics. Analytics is a good way to tell teachers and lecturers how students are engaging, which student requires more help. We analyze the outcomes in terms of assessment. If an assessment is due in a week or week 4 or so in the term, how students are performing in that assessment, which are the weaker students, and what type of intervention can be given to those students eventually. Later on, my colleagues from Learning Center will come and talk to you about how they have targeted intervention for students who need help. How do we know that? We know that through analytics. And another way of using the analytics is assurance of learning. We at James Cook University, Singapore, pioneer in assurance of learning, where our focus is not on grades, but our focus is more on learning outcomes, graduate attributes, whether our graduates and students are achieving the graduate attributes or the learning outcomes from individual subjects and courses. So we focus at that level and we then take action. So as I said in the last few minutes, we have made substantial improvements, again, continuous improvement, substantial enhancement in our learning and teaching, of course, technologically, through analytics. And it's not just to look good, but we have implemented it to improve student outcomes and, of course, student experience. Another way of improving is not just looking inward, but exploring what are the opportunities outside. We, however hard we try, we cannot be expert at everything. So we believe strongly in collaboration, partnering with institutions that can provide value to our students and, of course, our teachers as well. So as you can see from this slide, now this is based on 2019. There are several more partnerships that we have entered into 2020 as well. But here it's a good snapshot of the range of new partnerships or MOUs, which is Memorandum of Understanding, that we have entered into just in 2019. There are government agencies, there are other universities, education institutions, there are professional bodies, there are industry organizations, there are institutions in Singapore, there are organizations outside of Singapore. A range of these institutions and all these various partners help us learn more about their skills, what they have to offer, and of course improve from that. Because if we all work together, the synergic effect is much, much better. In this slide, you can look into some of the other partnerships we had in 2018 and earlier years. Now let's move on to another important or a key feature of JCU's strategy, and that is external recognition. Now, in my opening remarks, I mentioned that James Cook University is a university in our own accord. We are recognized as a full university, and we offer our own degrees. But what about the relevance of these degrees and courses? Whether industry or whether external bodies recognize these courses, whether they find these courses are good for students. So to ensure that, we make a conscious effort to collaborate or to have external benchmarks or recognitions for all our programs or most of our programs. As you can see from this slide here, our programs ranging from business, psychology, education, counseling, English language training, accounting, and range of other programs, IT, they all have some sort of accreditation. There may be international accreditation or journey towards getting that accreditation, such as AACSB, looking into our education programs recognized by Queensland College of Teachers. Our psychology programs are accredited by APEC, which is again an Australian Association for Psychology, and so forth. The accounting and finance programs are accredited by CPA Australia. The IT programs are accredited by Australian Computing Society, as well as we have a chapter at Singapore Computing Society. The point that I want to drive home is that at JCU, we don't just look at inward, but we also focus on external benchmarking and accreditations so that we are relevant and we are current. And these accrediting bodies or these professional organizations, they help us by remaining current, by incorporating the latest and the best in our curriculum so that our students can benefit eventually. Another key feature of JCU student experience is WIL, Work Integrated Learning. Work Integrated Learning, in simple terms, refers to out-of-class learning experiences. So I'm sure you would have heard that learning has to be holistic. What happens in the classroom is important. The conversations with the lecturer, tutor, or conversations, interactions with fellow classmates, it is relevant and it's important. But it is only a part of learning experience. Students can learn a lot by going outside of the classroom, by engaging with actual companies. And in this slide that I'm showing now, you can see a range of companies, public means government companies or private organizations, where our students go and engage with these institutions and organizations so that they can get real world experiences in addition to what is learned and discussed in the classroom. So, by combining the in class, on campus experiences with out of class, off campus experiences, students are able to have more holistic learning experiences and can become more work ready, because by engaging with members of industry, our students are able to link with them when they graduate. So many employers have given me feedback when I've spoken to them that JCU graduates don't have to spend a lot of time training. Our graduates can hit the ground running, in other words, so they can join the workforce and they can understand what's happening in the organization very fast. Everybody has a steep learning curve, but of course our learning curve is much faster. Last but not least, I would like to focus on some key strengths and successes that JCU have had in Singapore. First and foremost, we are the only fully owned campus of an Australian university in Singapore. There are many Australian universities which are operating in Singapore. They all are good, higher education, Australian higher education is of good quality. But James Cook University is the only university with a full campus and fully owned campus here in Singapore. And that speaks for it itself, because, in other words, we may be smaller than NTU, NUS in terms of size, in terms of student population, but we are on the same ranks in that words. I shared earlier that we believe in quality, and it's not just quality that we want, but it's a quality that is attested by external and top agencies such as EduTrust Star Award, SQC Star Award, and many other awards that JCU has garnished over the years. And it's not once. Many of these awards we have been awarded again and again, like SQC Star, which has been awarded few times, and of course we are the only institution to be awarded EduTrust Star for the second time. We have local and international accreditation. In one of my earlier slides, I focused on how we give importance to external benchmarking. Whether we are really hitting the cutting edge developments, in various industries. So by having local and international accreditation, we can be assured, our students and graduates can be assured that they're getting the best deal. We believe in collaboration. We have range of partners. Every year we have several dozen new partners, in Singapore, overseas, education institutions, professional bodies, organizations, so that we can learn from partners, and we also contribute to these partners through our research and engagement with them. We have system of student support and professional practice, which is very, very important. Where possible, we provide students, a opportunity to go outside of the classroom and learn. In addition to that, when students are on campus, there are very clear-cut, transparent systems and processes for students to help and benefit from, so that they are never in doubt. They always know what to expect and who to go to if they need help. Yep. We have interprofessional learning opportunities. What does that mean? Most students, when they're doing a course or a degree, they like to focus on the discipline that they're doing. So if I'm doing a business degree, then I can focus on international business, tourism, or accounting. But I may also be interested in doing some subjects in psychology, some subjects in IT. And here in JCU, we have that possibility. You can, depending upon the course structure, you can go outside of your primary discipline and acquire skills and knowledge in related disciplines as well. Because when you go out in the real world, you're not operating in silo. You need to have knowledge in many other fields in order to take the right decision. So again, the interprofessional learning opportunity become crucial for students to be successful when they go out there. We believe strongly in student experience, and one such way that we ensure quality student experience is through quality lecturers and teachers. And I'm proud to say that in JCU Singapore, all our full-time academic staff are PhD qualified. Now, what does PhD qualified does? One, it's a certification that these people are research active. They know what research is about. And second, they've got some level of expertise in the area or the discipline that they are teaching or engaging in. So by being PhD qualified, we can be assured, and students can be assured that they're getting training and guidance from probably an expert and a leading a professional in the industry or the sector or the discipline that they're studying into. And last but not least, and probably the most important factor, is our culture. Of course, quality, innovation, excellence is part of our culture, but another very important feature of our culture is nimbleness, being flexible and being adaptive. Our successes in 2020 in form of transitioning from face-to-face to online delivery and 100% online delivery back to blended learning where we have face-to-face and online as we speak right now. I was on campus yesterday and there were students on campus, there were classes on campus, and of course students were also supported online. So this transition in the last 6 to 7 months wouldn't have been possible if we were not nimble, if we were not adaptive. We are a very responsive organization. Our staff are always willing to change and adapt the best and adopt the best practice for staff and students. So folks, on that note, I would like to now pause for a minute. These were few things which I wanted to share with you as part of JCU's experience and learning and teaching and journey that we have. And now I'm going to take some questions. So what I'm going to do is I will read out the question which have been posted online, and my colleagues have been very kind in providing me in a ticker board here. So I can read out the question and I'll try to address those questions. So one of the questions is, are the PhD academic actually teaching or only doing research? A very good question. And I did say earlier that our academics are PhD qualified. PhD qualified is good. And yes, they do research, but all our academic staff, they are doing research as well as teaching. Because if you look at James Cook University's mission, which we call strategic intent, we believe in sharing knowledge or creating knowledge by having graduates, which is teaching, and also by creating knowledge through discoveries, and that is research. Very important aspect. So all our PhD staff, PhD qualified staff, they teach as well as they research. Next question. The next question is, what has been the feedback on e-learning, on blended learning in JCU? Very, very relevant question in this current phase. And if I say that the feedback has been fantastic, 100% good, I'll be lying to myself. Simply because when JCU made the transition early in the year, just as other organizations, it was a very unplanned transition. Nobody knew that COVID-19 is going to come and hit us all so hard in February 2020. But what I can assure you, and which I also take great pride in my team's success, is that over the last 6 or 7 months, our student satisfaction ratings have improved tremendously. We have conducted surveys in the different terms that we offered. We have also got other third-party agencies like ISB, which is a very renowned international student barometer, where they've conducted pulse survey, and they have given us feedback that our students have appreciated the efforts that the university has taken to provide continuity in their experience and improving their experience on a daily basis. I'm not talking about annual, but on a daily basis. And of course, some of my colleagues who are going to come and talk to you later on, they will also share how new things have been added every week to provide better online experience to students. And I can be, to be honest, now, for last 3 months or so, in the current trimester, we have not received many adverse student feedback, because whenever feedback comes, we immediately act on that feedback and we make sure that we communicate that back to students. In fact, on our website, we have a section called You Said It and We Did It, so that students know that they have given us feedback, when was the feedback given to us, and what did we act, what did we do. And it's available on our website for public consumption. The next question is about accreditation, yeah, and says what are the accreditations JCU has for specific programs, and as I had shown in one of my slides earlier, most of our programs are accredited, and these accreditations could be in Singapore and even Australia-based accreditations. So all our psychology programs, they are accredited by APEC, which is the Australian Psychology Association, and APEC is one of the well-regarded professional bodies in the globe. Yep. So I think that's very true. For all our IT programs, they are accredited by Australian Computing Society, and in Singapore, because SCS, Singapore Computing Society, does not accredit program, but we work closely with SCS, and we have a student chapter with them, and we engage with SCS on a regular basis. Our education program, we have a Bachelor's of Education program that is accredited by relevant bodies. Our counseling program is accredited in Singapore by Singapore Counseling Association, as well as in Australia. Our business programs, in fact, for accounting programs, they are accredited by CA, Chartered Accountancy Australia, as well as CPA Australia. And our business school, JCU Singapore Business School, is now going for AACSB accreditation. We were supposed to get the accreditation in 2020, but hopefully we will have that in 2021, which is the final leg, which got pushed down because of COVID-19. And if you ask me, is AACSB prestigious? Well, I would say that in Singapore, there are very few universities which have been accredited, which have been given Singapore-based AACSB accreditation, and that is NUS, NTU, and SMU. So these are the only three universities with that level of accreditation. And there are some foreign accredited institutions like INSEAD. But then if once JCU gets the accreditation, it'll be Singapore-based accreditation, and we will be in that league. But the good thing is that if an accrediting body is willing to accredit us, that means they have confidence in our systems, processes, and that's why they're accrediting us. So we are already in that group. Next question, please. Does the university status and EduTrust star afford any advantage to graduate? Well, I think yes, both direct and indirect. Yeah, the primary advantage is assurance that you are going to an institution which is recognized by Singapore as as an institution of higher education. So a university is not, because there are many universities, you might say that, hey, getting a university status is not a big thing, but it is a big thing, because not every education institution can call themselves a university. So having that recognition in Australia and now here in Singapore does definitely help us in communicating to students that, hey, we have certain levels of checks and balances, certain quality standards in our programs, in our approaches to students that put us in that league. So having these quality badges is a way to assure and attest our systems and processes. There are some more questions which talks about EduTrust Star. Are there any other schools? And yes, there is one other school that has EduTrust Star, but we are the only institution that has been awarded EduTrust Star for the second time. So EduTrust Star certification is usually given for 4 years, and it's renewed every 4 years, or it is, well, you have to go for the award every 4 years. So we've got our award. But you know what? We were the first institution to be awarded EduTrust Star. And we always take pride in that, because it says in our certification, it says 001. It's rare to have one, because only one person could be the first one. Yeah. Okay. The next question, that's interesting. How is JCU adapting to Industry 4.0 in terms of program offerings or syllabus? Are there any changes? Very good question. Whoever asked this question, my commendation to you, because as an education institution, we have to be relevant. And in order to be relevant, we have to change and adapt on a regular basis. That's one of the strengths JCU has. As I did share in my presentation earlier, that nimbleness and flexibility and adaptability is part of our culture. It's part of our DNA. All our programs are reviewed on a regular basis. Of course, this review is based on internal benchmarking. It's also based on the feedback and advice given to us by our external benchmark, the professional bodies that I spoke about earlier, like accrediting bodies and other professional agencies. And we also get information and advice from our industry partners. JCU has an advisory panel that has close to 20 industry leaders for multinational companies, Singapore based companies, and other organizations. And this advisory board meets on a regular basis and tells us about what are the current trends, how our programs need to change, what are new things that we need to build in. And accordingly, we make changes. In fact, some of the things that I can tell you is that in the recent past, there has been a lot of focus on technology, not about just IT, but technology. And guided by that, we are launching a suite of technology programs, such as cybersecurity, such as data science, such as Internet of Things. And these technology based programs are new cutting edge programs that will help cover the talent gap in Singapore and, of course, in the region and the world, because there's a huge shortage of trained professionals in these areas. And it will also help in speeding up the technology transfer and growth in Singapore. There were a few other things I want to talk about is what lies ahead, yeah? So as I mentioned, we are focusing on technology, but slightly broader. JCU, when we started several years ago, our focus was more on social and health sciences. So education, counseling, psychology, which is a lot on the health area. Then with time, we entered into business. And today we have, a suite of business programs looking into accounting, finance, banking and finance, human resource, marketing and other areas, tourism. And now we have realized that we should focus more on STEM. So as I said earlier, technology is one of those areas. But other than that, we are trying to build in science and mathematics and quantitative areas in many other courses as well. An example would be in our MBA, we have a specialization in business analytics. Yeah? So again, business analytics is a new field and a growing field. And so we have now entered into that foray as well. At our undergraduate level, we have in our marketing, we have digital marketing as a specialization, or called marketing for the digital age. So traditional marketing is great, but nowadays most organizations are using digital marketing as their marketing strategy. So we have marketing for digital age as a specialization. So bringing in again technology, bringing in quantitative skills in those programs. We are going to launch a named degree in economics. So of course we have different specialization, but we want to have a degree in economics because economics is a quantitative skills based program relevant for many business, finance and other types of area, policy making and other areas. So in this manner, we are trying to grow technology, trying to grow STEM focus in our new programs. Now let's look at some of the other questions that you may have. Few more questions that I can see on the panel, and one of the questions is, what is the mode of learning for upcoming intake? Yeah? So is it online? Is it blended? Or is it face-to-face? My answer to that is all of the above. Isn't that great? Students have the choice what they want to do. So now, because we are in such a situation that we have mastered in delivering our programs online, we already knew how to deliver programs face-to-face, and now we have also got into this hybrid model where students can do some learning face-to-face and some of it online. So depending upon how the pandemic situation develops, in Singapore, or for our international students in other markets, students can pick from these options. They can continue their education 100% online. So they will have synchronous, synchro means live sessions, of course on technology, or they can have asynchronous, which can become recorded material and other things that they can use. They'll have combination of synchronous and asynchronous material delivered 100% online. Or they could come to campus and study 100% face to face as well. Or the most popular choice these days is blended, where some activities are done on campus and other activities are done online. So you can pick and choose whatever areas you want. Of course, there are, in some courses, some options available, and others, they may not be available. But happy to have that conversation with you. But all these three options are available. And another interesting question, which probably I have answered many a times, and that is, in JCU Singapore, our degrees are, it takes shorter duration to complete the degrees as compared to Australia. So in other words, a 3-year degree, which is a typical Australian 3-year degree, we are able to complete that 3-year degree in 2 years. So we, in the sense, we can work with students and help the students to complete that 3-year degree in 2 years. Now you might be wondering, hey, how the hell can you fast track a course and reduce the time by 1/3, which is quite a lot? And the answer to that is, we're not making any, we're not cutting anything. We're not reducing any content. What we are doing is we are taking away holidays. So in most universities, they have 2 long semesters, and they will have a long summer break or a winter break, depending upon where where the university is located. We do not have these long holidays. Our students, they will have 14 weeks of trimester, then they have 3 weeks of break, and then again 14 weeks of trimesters, and then again 3 weeks of break. In this manner, in 3 trimesters in a year, 3 terms in a year, they're able to complete the curriculum, which is covered in 3 years, in 2 years. Is there any change in the contact hours? No. Is there any change in the curriculum? No. Is there any change in the student experience? The answer is no. But what if some student wants to take longer? What if some student says, hey, I don't want to take 3 terms in a year? Well, that's your choice. 2 years is the minimum duration. The maximum duration can be up to 7 years. I'm sure no student wants to be in the university for 7 years to complete a degree. But the point that I wanted to drive home was that 2 years doesn't mean that we force people into a fast-track intensive model. The fast-track intensive model is for those students who want to graduate earlier and who want to join the workforce earlier. Why would you won't it be beneficial for you to spend the last year in the workforce, working in a company and gaining more knowledge and experience there? Yeah. So many students prefer that option and they go for it. But if there are other students who want to take it slow, they can also do that. And they can take longer than 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, 3.5 years to complete their degree as well. So again, there is flexibility that's built into the program, and there is no compromise. No compromise in time or in curriculum as compared to a 3-year degree. I'm told that this is the last question, so I'm taking too much time here. But again, it's a good question. Are there any advantages for poly students, polytechnic students, to join JCU? There are plenty. There's several benefits for polygrads. In fact, I love polygrads in my classrooms. And you know why? Because polygrads, they already know what to expect. They already know what it is to become a higher education student. They are like, I wouldn't say half-baked. They are fully baked higher education students. So poly students, they generally perform very well in university, in JCU. What is the benefit to poly students? Well, because you have done 3 years of higher education after your O-levels, poly students, we recognize that, and we give advanced standing. We give credits to poly graduates from our courses. And this advanced standing can vary. It can be can be advanced standing from 1 year up to 1 year, could be more than 1 year, or could be less than 1 year, depending upon what poly diploma you have completed and what is your degree, what is the discipline of your degree that you are going to join JCU for. If you look at a cognate degree, or if a polygrad is looking at or is interested in joining a cognate means same discipline. So you've done a business diploma and they want to do a business degree, bachelor's of business, then of course they will get higher exemptions. But if a business student, or let's say if an IT student who's done a diploma in IT from any poly and they want to do a business degree, then they will receive fewer credits. There is no fixed formula. We, again, because we are nimble, we don't want to have a fixed formula. We consider every case by its merit and we give advanced standing to these students. Now, what does advanced standing do? One, it reduces the number of subjects that you have to study. It reduces the fee payable in the same proportion. So if the number of subjects reduced by 25%, your fee payable also reduces by 25%. Same proportion. That's the level of transparency. Yeah? It reduces the duration of your program. So if a polygrad has already spent 3 years in one of the local polys, then if they come to JCU, they may not take 2 years. They may take 1.5 years, or may take even slightly longer than 1 year to complete their degree. So in 4 or 5 years, maximum 4.5 years after their O levels, they can get the full degree. So there are a lot of benefits and advantages to polygrads to come and study with JCU. So on that note, I thank you again for your questions. I hope my responses were helpful. If they were not to worry about, please do send in your questions and I'll be very happy to respond to you via email, or, of course, you're welcome to come on campus. We invite guests. We have guests on campus and we can have a conversation on campus over a cup of coffee, tea. We also have our canteen open with limited choices, but there's still food available on campus, and we could have a meal together. In other words, I wish you the very best for your education journey. Hope you make the right choices and make an informed choice. Look for what courses are available. Look for what education institutions are offering those programs, because education or any investment in education is a lifelong investment. So just don't keep cost or price as the only factor that you would consider, but look at range of factors that will help you become a better individual, because the qualification, the education that you're going to get will make you a better person professionally and even personally. Thank you.